This just in! Trump secures the hostages. Hamas comes through on their end of the bargain. Netanyahu reportedly steamed as his plan to open up a hunting range for Palestinian children is foiled. Is this the end of the war? Or does Bibi have a joker's trick up his sleeve? In other news, the Pope has been reported as puffy and parched. Sleeping with snakes once again proves a surefire way to wake up with viper venom in your veins. That's all in the news today, folks. Hope you have a fantastical week. I'm thinking about actually doing that more. That sounds like a fun. That sounds like a fun little bit. Let's just try that bit out a little bit. Oh, hope everyone's doing great. Yep. Pope might die. Funny, like, cut off U.S. money, and then the Pope just evaporates. This is an anti-Pope, mind you. Pope Francis is the perfect mirage of ecumenism and neoliberalism and respect for religions and the sort of the disestablishmentarianism of the sort of semi-Masonic structure of theosophy. And if you know about Operation Gladio, the Mafia, and unholy alliance with the CIA, you'll know, time OSS, you'll know about the specifics of the Vatican's infiltration at the moment. And this is really big. It's a good time to actually start to learn about this because it's going to become very topical. And I hope the next Pope is Pope Pius XIV. And I hope he's a good guy. The guys who sodomized that Palestinian to death with a hot iron rod in prison have been indicted. So that's real good. Like, Biden is a true monster. But on top of being a true monster, he was also completely and utterly incompetent, completely and utterly not there. And we can see, like, you know, the worst parts of the worst society was running truly rampant for a while. There should have never been a debate whether or not that should be legal to do. Like, whether or not they're your enemies. That shows so much worse on you in the long run. And it's also very ironic given the fact that, like, that's one of the big things from the Nazis that was reported by the Holocaust museums that was done to them, is that they were sodomized in these prison camps. You don't get to turn around and do that to other people and then claim victimhood. You're perpetuating the trauma cycle. So let's just hope that those people are not only indicted, but they're actually served to experience a little bit of consequences for their actions in this life, which will actually shore them up a little bit for the next, but that's neither here nor there. There are some amazing Jews out there. Aaron Mate and his father Gabor Mate, Norm Finkelstein, Ken Klippenstein. No relationship to the coin Klippensteins. Really, truly, though, Norm Finkelstein is one of the most genius Jewish thinkers pro-Gaza, but also, like, Holocaust survivor family. That is a big thing, and it's the true meaning of the never again philosophy and ideation that Norm Finkelstein continues to speak on. The atrocities that any human being can met out against any other human being if they allow their morality to degrade. If I would have made it up to Casper, I would have found a way against all odds to help Cobes, man. I know. We would have rode bikes together when the weather was permissible. I could have brought him veggies. Even if I would have had to grow them myself, I would have brought him veggies. I would have came in. Who cares if you dox me? I don't give a crap. And I made some nice, delicious vegetable stuff for him. It's a shame, man. It's a shame. Kind of wish I could have been up there, but I'm also glad that I'm down here with my family. My mama did make this for me, and I helped. Katz is a beautiful, beautiful member of the Kiwi Farms. One of my most... well, I wouldn't necessarily call him my friend. He's everybody's friend, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to claim Katz. But he is legitimately like a shining beacon of light in the Kiwi Farms. Hopefully he's still there. And he not only would post cats all the time, which is very wholesome and enjoyable, Big Chungus 100 Keanu, but he would also craft beautiful little AI art, and like the most important part is that the way that he would speak and the like semi-poetic tone, not the tones, but the uh, linguistics that he would employ activates part of your brain that like you don't normally you feel your brain tingling in parts that you normally ignore, and then all of a sudden um, these windows of perception have been turned to stained glass by this uh, intellectual artistry that is employed by this user Katz. He's a and I yeah, I wish him well. Genuinely, 1000%. I wish him well. He was an animalcule craftsman. Speaking of, Hella, streamer from Australia, has the cutest cats. Truly fantastic beasts. I love Muttley, but his name on the potentially criminal and other YouTube stuff is Yamal, and the Kiwi Farms really lost out when they decided to ban him. When Null decided to ban him over little petty crap, totally avoidable petty crap. And you see him just exploding all over the place, and like all this charisma, and real recognize real. Like I know that if I was in like the cell with him, wouldn't be a problem. We'd run that place in a positive way and not in a malicious way. And like even if he was like in the dorm next to me, you know, I was 100s, he was 200s, or he was 200s, I was 300s. You know what I'm saying? We would have had great two pods that would have been like a little sanctuary in the jail. And yeah, no, real recognize real. Muttley is a real interesting, charismatic, enjoyable fellow to be around and to talk to. He's very excitable. He's very excitable. And that energy, like, we need so many of those people. We need 1 billion Muttleys. I hate to say it this way, but we straight up need 1 billion Muttleys. Straight up. That would be the thing that could take us anywhere. 1 billion Muttleys and like 20 Trumps. And you just like piece that out and you go to the stars, you know, that stuff. But I'm not saying he'd clone Muttley. I'm just saying like that attitude. You know what I'm saying? And he's also like a he's not prideful, and he very easily like follows good directions. So it's like Kiwi Farms really missed out banning that guy. I caught them off, by the way. He was right up here on the inside. You might see a little bit of a smudge, and it's really cool. The way the light hit it, I could see the rainbow scale showering off as its wings hit my hand. I got it outside unharmed, of course, but that's a really good defense. It's like hypnotic and dense rainbow flakes exploding off of it like flares. That was bound to confound the eyes and mouth of anything trying to seize on it. And very dense amount of like rainbow scales coming off of it. And if you look at, or if you look up pictures of a zoomed in microscopic picture of moth's wings, it is legitimately like a whole bunch of rainbow scales. And that's meant to catch the light and be a hypnotic deterrent. Woodwind instruments are crazy, man. I always knew that woodwind instruments were pretty much the hardest instruments. Because brass, you know, you can maintain brass, you gotta heat it up, it takes a lot of lung power. But with woodwind instruments, you gotta replace your reeds like every 20 hours to sound good. That's one of the reasons why like young people can almost never sound good on the woodwinds, is because they're not using instruments with replaced reeds and stuff. Because they're still learning, like it takes a couple of years to like stop sounding like really bad. If school was free, I'd probably have racked up like 4 or 5 degrees right now. By now, just for fun. I make you a nice charcuterie board. I set it up real nice for you, top to bottom. You slam the entire thing in your mouth, yelling everything everywhere all at once. Get out of here! You know, the US currency is still worth quite a bit, so long as our metal aligns by it. It's kind of a terrifying concept when you think that, like, with as money as inflated as it is in the trillions, that you could legitimately, like, try to turn that all into, like, quarters or pennies or nickels and dimes. The dime being the superior of all of those, by the way. It's wild, to think of how much metal that would actually equate to. So as long as it's not completely fiat, as long as it does still have metal tender, unlike the plastic money of other places, that's that's a genuine wealth. That's a genuine currency. Jung's Ion. Worth a read. But it scared Jordan Peterson senseless. And it's really not all that frightening. It's some pretty interesting, profound truths in there, but it's pretty simple. And there's no reason why you should get caught up in the Abrahamic chapter of that rubric when it literally goes from way back when all the way forward through the combined concerted effort of Christendom to assert itself on this planet. You should have looked at Hobbes's Leviathan. You really should have looked harder at that. That would have been more enlightening to him. Trump's pissed. And Elon, he's his fixer. And Elon's got a big axe. It's ground. It's large. And a lot's getting fixed, let me tell you. And a lot of it ain't pretty. But you can see Elon kind of shrinking back a little bit because the psychic pain that I was talking about, that was being expressed last episode, is noticeable. It's palatable. And you can kind of see he's falling back a little bit. Because, yeah. We'll see how we're watching to see how the minutes, we don't want to be too plugged into politics because it makes us crazy, but as it develops, it starts to show so many striations. At least it's natural instead of this flat backroom, smoky-filled backroom, mediated out through the media, everything coordinated together, and everybody calling you crazy if you question the narrative. That's not organic. This is organic. This is what real life kind of feels like. And I guarantee you that all the oligarchs that think that they can live forever in the machine are not going to achieve their goals. I guarantee you. But what the consequences of the system continuing on in this Bush-Obama style, where Bush and Clinton completely reformed the United States government to serve global interests while completely and utterly nullifying the value of foreign military-aged males is a good term, being killed, while only focusing on the positive and the benefits, while simultaneously providing next to no realistic benefits to most American citizens. The long-term consequences of that are far more horrifying than to see the system break as it is now. That's one of the reasons why people are just yes, this is it, and this is what people want. And there's going to be there's a lot of blood on the floor, and going to be a lot of friendly fire. So we'll see how that goes. Keep hope. Don't plug yourself into every single minute of it, otherwise you'll drive yourself crazy. But pray on it. Pray on it. That's real good advice. Pray on it. Because as I said, Trump's pissed. And he's got every right to be pissed. The reason why Jews wear those little hats is actually an interesting philosophical reasoning. They defer to their sovereign to covenant with God and then hide their own doubts from God, you see. Very fascinating. The high priest is the one that covenants with God. Moses, Abraham. And then they all covenant with their sovereign. So it's a three-part system. Three-part system. It's fascinating. I actually respect that. And it literally just hit me. I didn't look this up, but I kind of respect that little hat thing. It looks goofy and silly, but it's a real concerted effort to say, no, you mean it. Everybody around you means it. And one guy got a lot of responsibility. You know what I'm saying? On the basis of theosophical king. However, exercising the equivalent of an orbital bombardment on the neighborhood where a kid who just threw a rock and scratched your Hummer came from, that's a big inconsistency. I do not think the high priest convening with God is constructing Netanyahu and the IDF on how to properly act, and Mossad. You know, Mossad's paid Ashley St. Clair like over $600,000. And I'm pretty sure she's legitimately lying about the whole CRISPR gene editing her child to make Elon look like a dumbass and a sap and like an antichrist and stuff like that. I don't even think that's real. I don't think that's real. I think she probably CRISPR'd a little bit, which is modifying the genes in the embryo, in vitro, in embryo. I'm not even sure how CRISPR really works, but to my knowledge, CRISPR does not integrate foreign genomes because you can't integrate foreign genomes. It just doesn't work. Like, you're destined for extreme cancer and other issues if you do, and I think she's lying. That's what I think's going on there. I genuinely think she's lying. Still kind of funny to joke about how, like, I put red-ass baboon genes in my child's DNA and I made him smarter. That's kind of funny. Kind of funny to think about. And yet, despite the stuff going on in the Middle East, still, Christ asks us to forgive to a higher degree than vengeance might ever claim. 70 times 7 plus 7. And that's a hard ask. It's a hard ask. In fact, I actually wrote up and deleted a whole thing about Null because I'm going to really try. I'm going to really try to genuinely forgive him in my heart of hearts, regardless of how missed opportunities and, oh, you hurt my feelings, and man, you took what I gave you and you spat in my face afterwards. I just want people to do good, man. That's all. And you know what? I know the reason why I gave so much to Null, because I thought that I saw him want to do good for other people too. And I still carry that hope, and I still pray for him. I have for years. Like a lighthouse in the sea, we are to hold fast for the sake of others. For tomorrow. The torch will stay lit. And sometimes that torch is carried into less and less hospitable territories, and it must shine brighter for it to stay lit. Big ups here in the grift. Skulls show us the simple truth that those with less microplastics and lead in their blood and brains still could not escape the wheels of time. And certainly neither can we. Moreover, what does the Reaper carry? A scythe. Not a weapon of war, but a tool of the harvest. Scythe is a delicate tool of exactness, extracting what has grown, the fruits prior therein sown. By the way, if you don't plan your weeks and your months properly, you're going to end up spending 30 to 50% more resources than if you had, with markedly worse outcomes. Keep that in mind. All right, y'all. Cheers.